Howdy folks. Today I wanted to talk to you about how we are extending our gardening season using the Mittleider gardening method by starting our seedlings indoors. We're down here in our basement, and this is the system that we use now to get our seedlings started. Our average last day of frost is about around the 8th or the 10th of April. And 6 to 8 weeks before that date, we came down here, depending on what we're going to plant for the year, and we start everything in our sand and sawdust and perlite mixture. The system that you see here, underneath all of this, is this metal drip tray. And this is made to go in the garage underneath your car, and it's got a raised lip, probably 3/8 of an inch. And that catches, or is designed to catch, any fluids that leak out of your vehicle. Here we are using it to catch a little bit of the soil and the water that leaks out of these seedling trays when we water everything. Under the seedling tray is our heat mat, seedling heat mat. It is a jump start mat. They're 20 inches wide, 48 inches long, and the controller is mounted up here on the wall. We keep our temperature for that set at 80 degrees, and there's a little wire coming up right there. That is the probe. That probe is what senses the temperature and tells the controller to turn on and to turn off. Our temperature right now is 77.3 degrees, and that is down because I was here just a little bit ago and I watered everything. That water temperature cooled off that soil and dropped the temperature. Now our jump start controller has got the heat mat on, and it's bringing everything back up to temperature. Our seedling trays, the design for these and the plans for building them come out of the Mittleider gardening course book. They're roughly 18 inches by 18 inches, and we grow all of our seedlings here in the basement in those. We start them in those, and as they get bigger, they will eventually end up in individual pots when they're ready to go outside because our temperature is warmed up. The grow light that we use is a AgriBrite. It is a 6-bulb fluorescent light. We keep that light on 18 hours a day, and we have an electronic digital timer right there that is set up to run. We have 2 systems here, and when we get that other system set up, both lights will be controlled to run at the same time off of that controller. The medium that we're growing in is kind of odd if you're not familiar with the Mittleider method. It is 2 parts sawdust, 1 part sand, and half a part of perlite. There is no nutritional value in that mix, so all the nutrients that these plants are getting is coming from the water that we give it daily. We have taken the Mittleider weekly feed, and again, that's a Mittleider thing. It's got all the nutrients that these things need to grow in it. We take 1 ounce of that weekly feed. I mix it with 3 gallons of water in my little bucket here, and daily I come down here and put that water onto my seedlings. Excuse me. As these seedlings get big, and these tomatoes here are a good example, as they get big, they start to crowd each other out and they get too close together. They're going to be bumped up, they're going to be moved into another seedling tray, and they're going to be spread out. That'll give them plenty of room for the roots to grow. They'll be able to get plenty of light, and it'll make it a little bit easier for me to get the water and the nutrients that they need directly to them. Typically, I will bump up each of these different varieties of plants 2 times before they go into a large container, and the outside temperature will allow me to move them out. I'll take them outside, I will harden them off for a few days, get them accustomed to the direct sunlight, and then they're going to go into my garden. This 2x2 block that you see here, It's kind of tipped over. But this is what I use to make the rows in our growing medium where I put the seeds. I use the corner of it, the edge of it, put a slight depression down into that mixture, and it gives me a nice straight line for me to put the seeds in. Pull that out of the way, put all the seeds down, and then I cover it with sand. Put a light cover of sand over those seeds, and the sand is easy for the seeds to pop up through, and it works tremendously well. Excuse me. To prevent the seeds from getting washed out and the rows of seeds from getting mixed up, when I put new seeds in, we actually cover this with a piece of burlap. And we get the burlap from Walmart. A yard of it is right around $3, and a yard of burlap is enough to cut out and make covers for 2 of our seedling trays. The burlap, when you water through it, acts like a diffuser, and it'll help to keep you from sending that sand and the seeds from scattering all over your seedling tray. You will water the seeds with just a normal water until you see the seeds sprout. When those seeds break up through the surface, you water one more time, pull your burlap off, and then each day after you go ahead and water with the constant feed. And again, the constant feed is 1 ounce of the weekly feed fertilizer mixed with 3 gallons of water, and that provides all the nutrients that these plants need to grow in sand and sawdust. By doing this, we have plants that are big, healthy, many of them nearly ready to produce fruit or blooms when they get transplanted into the garden. We have just taken and extended our growing season by roughly 6 weeks by starting everything here in the basement. This also allows us to pick the healthiest plants. If there is one that's weak, that's not doing well, that just doesn't look right, go ahead and you pull it out. Don't put it in the garden. By starting our seeds all here in the basement, not only are we extending our growing season, but we're ensuring that we're going to have enough of everything that we need. If you were to direct sow these seeds into your garden, germination rate for a reputable seed company is approximately 85%. By starting them here in the basement, we know exactly how many plants we've got. We're ensuring that we have the healthiest plants to take out to the garden, and it's a much more efficient system.